So chapter 2 in your book talks about the strategic marketing process, and in particular, the strategic sports marketing process. So let's talk a little bit about where we're headed, because this is the framework for the rest of the book and, of course, the rest of the course. The book's framework for strategic sports planning is a contingency framework, and it's an interesting concept that was very popular in the 70s and 80s. I don't think it's quite as popular today. Three of the key ideas is that everything is contingent upon the current situation, which of course makes good sense, I think, for all of us. The three main points that the book brings up is that, first off, sports marketing operates in an unpredictable and rapidly changing business environment. And the question is that true? And the answer is probably most businesses operate in rapidly changing business environments. Certainly all of us that live in Las Vegas understand how important the changing environment is here in creating a different opportunity and a different approach to doing business. When I got here in 1988, most of the casinos were in the gambling business or gaming business. And today they're in the entertainment/experience business. And they have adapted over time as gambling has spread across the 48 of the 50 states. Las Vegas has had to redefine itself and adapt to a changing gaming environment. That's also true for sports, but in many cases, because of the way the leagues are set up and the monopoly type situation that professional sports in particular has, I would argue that it is not a particularly rapidly changing business environment, and that in many cases, things like Major League Baseball, professional football, hockey, etc., certainly are constantly changing, but aren't changing at warp speed. Second, no one marketing strategy is more effective than another, but one strategy may be more effective for a specific organization given the specific environment they face. Well, what does that mean? Of course, what this says is that there are many different ways to be successful in a particular business environment. For instance, there may be many different ways to be a successful Major League Baseball franchise. But in any given situation, one strategy is likely to be more effective and more efficient than others. And I think that's true for lots of businesses, not just the sports business. There are many different ways to be successful in the gaming industry, in the hospitality industry, in the airline industry, in the sports and entertainment industry. So I'm not sure exactly what the authors are trying to point out here. Then third, it assumes that an organization does not operate in isolation, but rather interacts with other systems. Well, what this, of course, implies is that every organization needs to understand their competitors, their industry, their customers, and the environment in which they operate. I think that's true for all businesses. And so as a result, my recommendation is that you think about strategic sports marketing in a framework that we always use at UNLV's School of Business, and that is the very traditional strategic marketing framework, where we start off with a situation analysis, which may or may not need additional primary and secondary data. leading to setting goals and objectives given the situation, which then results in a overall strategic approach, positioning, target marketing, and then of course the um, uh, decisions made concerning the 4Ps, services and experiences. This leads then of course to our tactical action plan, which then of course results in our implementation of that plan and then the evaluation of that plan. So if most of you will see this as being very familiar, this is a strategic framework that MIB uses in all of its classes. And so if you've had a planning class or you've even had principles of marketing or virtually any other class, this is the very traditional strategic framework. And you'll notice that I've put in where each of the chapters in this textbook fit in. And this suggests then that while your authors of the textbook prefer a contingency framework, everything that they talk about fits very nicely into a very traditional sports marketing strategic framework. And that's sort of the approach that I'm going to use as I go through and discuss some of these topics. Of course, here's another example where we show you the different areas that you have to make decisions in and how these fit in our very traditional 5-step process: situation analysis, setting goals, developing strategies and tactics, implementation and evaluation. And then finally, we talk about the 4Ps, and these are the elements of the marketing mix that must be blended to produce a cohesive marketing program. And of course, in sports, the products are a little bit different, and the pricing is a little different, and the promotional activities are a little different, and our distribution decisions are a little different. But all of these things fit together, and while we discuss these as the 4Ps, the fact is that they need to be blended together and managed together to create a cohesive marketing plan. So let's talk sports marketing and strategic planning.